In this world, angels live among us. Many great invincible beings of immeasurable power, a bridge between us and the gods. These creatures are not as you might imagine them. While some are human-like in their appearance, most are alien. A sitting mountain, a giant boar, a hovering sphere. Each of the angels provides a powerful boon to the surrounding area and its inhabitants. They do not speak to us. They do not move. We built our world around them. They shaped our cultures. We rely on them. Until something dark came along. Now, one by one, the angels have been slain. The people of the lands around them slaughtered. A wave of death is spreading across our world. Only a few places remain as a final bastion of life. Only a few against an endless horde of oblivion. And within these few, a single band of unlikely heroes, bound by forces beyond their understanding. In this world, there is only a single word that describes their soul-bound connection.
As you stand before the Temple of Dunatis and the immense mountainous angel Voriel, the moon is still hanging half in shadow, half in light above you because dawn is still some time away. And the head cleric of the order here, Thors, wraps himself in a loose robe and walks towards the water's edge, and he says,
"There is another warrior out there. One who may just buy us the time we need. Riothamus, the king of drakes. He is the strongest of his kind. The most powerful dragon in Gaia, matched perhaps only with Charnus, the Red Dread."
He turns to you and he seems to have sort of calmed somewhat after the sort of semi-panic he was in when you first approached him a little while ago. He says,
"According to the fates of Savras, it is said that the bloodline of Riothamus belongs to the task of the protection of the world, bade to sleep until a battle for Gaia will take place. North, in the Pure Lands, beyond the snowfields of Uma, there is an island made of black rock. You will find Riothamus there. You must wake him. Regardless of the false prophecy of our people, the battle for Gaia has begun. He will come here. He will hold the line. For when you return, you must travel south, directly into the fray, into the waves of undeath. It is much to burden your shoulders with, so suddenly. But prepare to carry the weight, or bury your knife into your stomach now, for all is lost without you. Or so the strings sing."
He pulls a rolled piece of parchment from his robe pocket and hands it to you, Cirrus.
I will return to town. You can travel by boat some of the way.
He taps the parchment, and as you unroll it, it's a map.
Take the lake north and then follow the mountain range to the Serpent's Cavern. But you should not enter. You must cross the Snowfields. Keep the Serpent Cavern to your east. The mountain itself looks as if a serpent is coiled around its peak. Keep the Whispering Caverns to your west. The mountain pass will take you past the Snowfields to the Pure Lands. Nothing here but a flat white landscape. Keep the mountains to your south, and once you reach the ocean, the closest island, covered in black sand, bursting with the steam. This is where Riothamus lives.
Good.
Wait, hang on 1 second here. How do you know he won't just kill us?
Riothamus is not like Charnus or Garrus. He is good.
Good.
If he's good, where are these bad dragons?
One would think they are dead. One would hope.
So that's it then? We have to go babysit a dragon king and then bring him back and then wade into tides of undead? That's our fate, is it?
Fear so.
Lead the way then.
Is it not a good enough
Pause.
faith?
Yes.
Are you telling us everything?
I am telling you everything that I know, or at least how I am able to interpret from Voriel. If you wish to know more, then I think you must speak to Had.
And where is he? I haven't seen him for a while.
Your guess is as good as mine. Had is a mysterious man, but I would trust him with my life if he believes that being away, doing whatever he is doing, is for the best. We must trust.
Well, what about you? Why can't you help us? Why are you sending us all there alone?
I, at first, interpreted the aurora. What Voriel was suggesting. I gathered forces. I prepared in a different way, but the angel convinced me we would fail. Our job was not to fight, but to prepare you. Our failure would mean your failure.
According to your angel. Where's your angel now anyway? Poppycock.
That may be the case,
Nonsense.
but you held one of Savra's tears, the crystal ball. It belonged to Had. He wanted to see what would happen should you interact with the tear. He seemed to believe Voriel spoke the truth.
And, how do you expect us to survive through there? Do you have anything that will help us through the cold?
We have nothing. We have been training you. We had hoped for more time. We did not realize that we only had one cycle. We thought we had many years.
I turn facing the crowned mountain, where Voriel is or was, and he's still there, yes. The world has gone to shit, but Voriel's here protecting us, correct? Or is he no longer in there anymore?
Yeah, as you look up, there is just an enormous set of sort of peaks and shards that reach up as high as sort of any mountain might look. It doesn't quite look like a sort of classic mountain. It does have a sort of crystalline look to it, but the mountain that sits at the center of this lake, although the Goliaths have built stone around it and a sort of temple around this thing, they've only built it onto parts of it and like areas of this thing. The sort of crystalline shards that make up the mountain of the angel Voriel also have these glowing elements to them, these sort of warm orange hue glows. Parts of that glowing rock have been covered in stone and shaped in such a way that it creates a rune, so that if you were to stand back, it would be in the shape of, you know, like a Triskelion or some sort of Nordic or giantish or primordial rune. But generally speaking, the mountain does pulse in certain areas with this very low orange hue, and Thors points up to that or the nearest sort of glowing area and says,
Our angel has a beating heart.
So he's the last one left then, is it?
I do not know.
At any rate, I suppose we better get a move on now.
May I pray before we depart?
If you must.
Don't take too long. I'm bloody freezing.
Well, it's only going to get colder.
Yes,
Oh,
you're
I
really
believe-
selling it. Thank you, Thrak.
I believe the
walk
most
to-
prudent action would be to prepare before we leave.
Prepare how exactly? We are far from town.
Yes, well, I think we can make it back. We aren't that far.
Again, it's time, right? Time is of the essence. I, for one, frankly don't care, but I'm just curious how you're all thinking, is all. As always.
Well, perhaps Sirius can ask their angel for some help, for some warmth, maybe. Maybe a nice little kindling sprite or something. They want us to go out there all alone. Useless angels.
There are robes, wood, some food inside the temple. You are welcome to help yourselves to these things.
Is there not a price for blasphemy with your religion?
Do you plan to blaspheme?
No, I don't, but a certain companion of mine won't cease doing it. I'm just curious why you haven't flexed an eyebrow yet. Is it because we're chosen all of a sudden and I show off my tattoo?
There is no such thing. We welcome all, regardless of what they say, who they might be, who they were. Unless you do something to force our hand, you may speak freely.
That's right, it's not my angel. You hear that? You're not my angel.
And here I was wasting all this effort on manners.
Yeah, I could tell you were putting a lot of effort into it.
Finished.
Did you get anything good out of it?
Yes. But I don't imagine what you would think is good out of it.
Well, I don't know. It's a tantalizing story. Perhaps something to keep us warm on the road. I wink.
I'm afraid I have no such stories.
Yes, I have to amuse myself then, I suppose.
I suppose we have a temple to raid then before we keep going?
I'm sorry, what?
Pardon me, I misspoke. I said we have a temple to raid now before we keep going?
Yes, raiding temples. Wonderful. Wonderful.
Laws has given us
Oh.
permission to take the supplies we may need from within the temple. I think
all right,
firewood
raiding's
would be a good idea.
strong word.
Raid the temple! Let's go!
You know, Like Jilden does to the
Goodness.
pantry every evening, you know? It's no different.
I'm walking towards the temple. I've walked away.
Yeah. You guys can sort of just spend some time. The temple on the inside is incredibly sparse. It's sort of just a stone, rudimentary set of hallways and areas of prayer. And those areas of prayer are little more than sort of circular rooms with stone plinths and kneeling mats. However, there are several areas that are a little bit more like you would be accustomed to, with mats to sleep on and tables and chairs for eating and such. There are pantries that have got lots of dried fish and salted fish and really that's predominantly what I think they have here, but there'd probably be some other like meats here and there. All of it's sort of like cured jerkies and things, maybe some nuts and dried berries, but enough at least that you could sort of fill your pockets or bags, rations. The firewood is a little different. I think you can probably gather some, but it's quite heavy, right? So I don't know how much of that you're really going to want to take with you. But we can just assume that you gather as much as you think is necessary. I'm not going to sit and quibble over how much you're taking and stuff like that. The entire time, I think Thor's just sort of remains outside. There's no one here. Almost, and Sirius is probably the only person that spent any sort of significant amount of time in here. But usually there's some people. There are times when there's a lot more people and times when there are a lot less people. But there's literally no one. You get the sense that Thor's sort of got rid of everyone. Thor's himself, for a pretty big Goliath, man, like comparatively, compared to other Goliaths, he's quite small, but compared to you guys, he's still very big. Looks weak and tired, as if he's been awake for a long time, or hasn't been eating or something like that. You get the sense from him. However, the acknowledgement of becoming Quura grants you some additional power. But first, you must charge the ability. So, here's a mechanical thing for everyone to do. Everyone roll me a d20.
Yay!
Dusts off the old pursuit table from Darkfire and adjusts it a little bit.
18.
Because you now have a thing called a bond.
3.
3, 18, 3, 19, 16. Alright, let's just go in order of what you've rolled here. 18. Alright, your bond is that, and this is entirely out of character. I don't care how you want to approach this in character. Entirely up to you. 18 is that you must push a hostile creature to its death.
Well, that was going to be my MO anyway, so...
If you do it, you get a completion reward, which is called All Might. Once per day, when you hit a creature with your weapon, you can choose to deal an extra 2d8 force damage to the target. The target must also make a DC 18 strength check or be pushed up to 30 feet away from you. And that will be a thing that you get. And I'll write this all down for you so you can copy paste it onto your sheets later on. Jilden, 3. Silver Tongue. Successfully talk down a rampaging enemy.
Oh, wonderful!
And you will gain proficiency in persuasion, expertise if you're already proficient, and double proficiency if you've already got expertise.
Wonderful!
Yeah, so that's what you gotta do. Cirrus. Save another friendly creature from certain death. And if you do so, you gain an additional racial feat, which is going to be interesting, I think, for you. But there are in Xanathar's, there are additional sort of race-specific feats that you can get. So we can figure that out if and when you do this thing. And Thrak is 16. You have to land the first strike in combat 10 times. So you just tally that up, and after that you will forever gain advantage on your first strike in combat. Those are your bonds, and I will copy paste these into our thing in a second. But that is an additional thing gained through the bond here, and essentially those kicked in when you got your tattoos. I think after a little while you gather all of your bits and pieces and head back out. There are 2 boats here, one that you brought and one that Thor's brought, and he seems to be sort of pushing his towards the lake itself. When he sees you guys coming out, we'll just assume you're sort of heading towards the boat. Thor's pauses as you guys pass, and he pulls you aside, Cirrus. For a moment, like the others maybe stop, and then they continue on, and then he sort of turns to you and says,
You represent our order. Regardless of your origins, you are one of us now. You have been for some time. But you are more. Your born name is Cirrus Macehearth, but now, here to us, as one of us, you are to hold the title Cirrus Liv Voriel, Life Bringer, Life Preserver under Voriel's might. Go then. You have only the small task of saving this world, little cloud.
He puts a hand on your shoulder.
I drop to one knee and I take his other hand and I bring it to my forehead. Thank you.
It is I and the rest of us who will soon be thanking you.
I will make you proud.
He gets into his boat and rows back towards the town itself. And I think we see you guys get into your boat and sail it north towards the Snowfields.
Wriggle watched them, as he had been watching them for several months now. These few that had seen him, the first that had seen him in so long. Wriggle watched them as they ran to fight the creatures, as they wormed through the mountain and brought some of it down. He watched them get into the boat, and he watched them now run in the other direction, to the coldest parts. North they traveled, and Wriggle followed.
Stroke.
I'm not rowing.
Begin rowing.
Stroke. Stroke.
Come on, Thrak, you useless lump. Get working.
Thrak is very used to being prodded by Jordan, and he does not look up from his book, as I believe Cirrus is rowing the boat.
I believe she is.
You notice that I'm rowing it though with, I mentioned this, but you notice that I'm rowing it with one arm and I have a bit of like a strange hold of it so that I can create leverage. But yeah.
Are we going around in a circle? Or are you switching? Are you rowing
I'm
it like
switching.
a canoe?
I would be rowing it like a canoe, like two on one side, two on the other.
I inspect my tattoo. Would it be construed as magical?
I think definitely yes.
Okay.
I wonder if Binkle came back after all. I really ought to have my feet scraped before we go on an adventure. You know how bad they get.
I'm sure Seer could do that for you.
I would rather die, thank you.
That can be
Struck.
arranged, child. That can be arranged.
I close my eyes and lay back in the boat.
Why do you believe a word that man says anyway? How do you know his angel's not feeding him lies? If I was an angel, that's what I'd do. I'd be telling everybody that everybody else is dead and I'm the only one left. And oh, you only have to be... Oh, the worship. They could only worship me. That would be wonderful.
Yes, that's why you're not an angel.
How do you know? Maybe I am. You ever met
Wouldn't
an
that
angel
be
before?
something?
To Jordan's point, there are many angels who would do such a thing. I do not think Vorio is one of them.
Mm.
It's all poppycock anyway.
That poppycock has kept you warm for a year.
Well,
Have you not
how do
felt
you
the-
know?
That you've been warm for a year?
Well, I like to think that Zelneus still with me in my heart. He's out there somewhere, I'm fairly sure. And he's blessed me. And he keeps me safe.
Sort of sit back with a satisfied look on my face and close my eyes, sort of daydreaming.
I shift uneasily in the boat, move away from her. That was my spot. And peer over to see where we're headed.
Yes, you are headed dead north. I assume, to the Snowfields, or the area of Uma, and the area just north of Uma. They refer to as the Snowfields in Moon. Where you are in the world is pretty much, if we were to sort of just lay a map out. Now, this is a planet just like ours in that it's spherical, so you can position the map wherever you want. But for the sake of our own and the people watching and listening, our own mental image, the Kingdom of Uma, which is this northern Goliath homeland, is dead center all the way up at the top. There is no other kingdoms above it. It's just sort of a no man's land that is just pure ice that they call the Pure Lands. A sort of spattering of islands and then just sea. This is about as far north as it gets. There are a couple of places in the world that you could technically sort of go a little further north in terms of landmass. But this is sort of full on Arctic Circle area. Where our Arctic is water, and where our Antarctica is in this planet, there's water as well. And predominantly this world is a Pangea, so it's just absolutely pretty much just land. There are some dotted areas of islands, but the sort of central area of this world is land. Moon, the village and the town, really the only one in Uma, is pretty much as north as it gets. And you are sort of just traveling along the lake of here. This is an absolutely enormous lake that surrounds Boreal and the mountain. And eventually you come to the edge of that lake, and it's still dark out as you leave the boat, and then begin to walk in the snow and sort of travel finally to on land. Now you have done this travel before. A couple of, depending on how you got here, and I think I know how each of you got here. I think only one of you came from the north, but I do know, because we have played a couple of session zeros, that you've done this travel before. It's the same route you would have taken. Eventually you would have. I think you walked around the lake before, but this is the same route that you took to the snake cavern, essentially, is what we'll call it. So it is just it's a hard trek through lots of snow, like inches and inches of snow, and it gets tiring and difficult to do. There is no path. This world doesn't really have roads even. There are areas of the world that are a lot more technologically advanced and maybe have roads here and there, but there is definitely no road or any sort of easy route here. You're traveling through thick snow, and once you get out of that boat and start walking, that begins. However, eventually you break through the invisible barrier that represents Boreal's influence. Boreal, the angel, and there are many sitting angels in this world that have different abilities and effects on the area around them. The sort of signature ability of Boreal, this mountain, is that the area around the angel has significantly reduced weather effects. There's never extreme weather. There's never like extreme heat. There's never extreme cold. There's never tornadoes. There's generally never like huge like windstorms and things like that. And it allows the people who live on the edge of that lake to survive there and live in those conditions. However, once you leave that area of influence, the conditions are pretty much unlivable. The Arctic cold here is just impossible to survive in for most creatures, even for Goliaths, which have like a resistance to sort of extreme chill. There are obviously exceptions to this. There are cold-based creatures and mythical creatures that exist. There are things like polar bears and like rabbits that, you know, like snow hares that we have, and then there are horrible monstrous things that live out in there that can survive that kind of cold. But for the most part, and in terms of like civilization, really not too different to here. No one's living really in the Arctic. So once you step beyond that invisible barrier, I think it's instant as well. Like the way that extreme cold strikes you again as you exit the influence of the angel. It's sort of an instant bone-chilling cold that just grips you as you begin this expedition once again across the Snowfields, one of the coldest places on all of Gaia. We have a set of rules in this area of the world, which are called the Frozen Rules, in which basically Myre has to sing us a bunch of songs from the hit musical Frozen, or you suffer damage in-game. No. The Frozen travel rules start to apply. It's very similar. I won't go over what it is exactly, but essentially imagine exhaustion, but with a cold twist to it. That is, it immediately sort of becomes in effect. This is my warning. That frozen situation is happening once again. And I think you guys just start walking. It's nighttime. There is a half moon above, and actually providing an okay amount of light because of the white of the snow and the reflection. There is actually a decent amount of vision. It's a clear night, not too snow stormy. There's no like falling snow. There's nothing that's going to be causing you to have like terrible vision. So I think for the first sort of hour of your journey, you're pretty fine. It's just a matter of trudging through the snow, eventually breaking through that barrier, and then just staying on target and heading north towards the mountain range that is directly ahead of you, and sort of this whole area really, but there is a mountain pass that you're aiming for. He gave you a map to give you a route through, so you know in theory how to make it. And I think that's what we see is just sort of your group moving across this this sort of mountainous, snow-filled terrain. Eventually, you will have to make me your first set of checks though, and we're going to begin with a set of Constitution saving throws to see if you suffer the initial effects of the frozen condition exhaustion.
Well.
Oh, wow. A 6, an 8, a 7, and a 6. I think we all know that is 4 fails. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's because you woke up early. Maybe it's just you're just incredibly underprepared for this, or maybe it's colder than it seems. It's just horribly cold here. It may be the height of summer, but that really doesn't have a huge effect on this area. It's enough to keep sort of zombies at bay, but it doesn't mean it's not much of a change for your average hot-blooded individual. So you take the first level 1 frozen condition, which is that the creature's speed is reduced by 10 feet. So your speed is 10 feet. Reduced by 10 feet, so whatever that is. You I think you sort of continue moving here, and the winds start to pick up a little bit. Eventually as you're moving forward, you sort of recognize that this isn't necessarily a snowstorm, but the wind here picks up in such a way that it starts to bring the snow off the surface of the land. It starts to create a sort of soft whiteout in that your vision starts to get dramatically reduced. It gets a lot colder. It becomes a lot more confusing. The fact that it's nighttime as well really will affect your ability to navigate and move through this area. The mountains in the distance fade away, and navigating north becomes difficult. We're going to do a group survival check. So another thing that I like to do, I should probably mention right here, we are playing D&D 5e, but what we're really playing is D&D 5e light BradWOTO rules. I mess with this system so much. I love tinkering with it and homebrewing things in. All I want to do is tell a story, and I've only ever... The system for me is just a mechanical thing to help me get that going. So I will mess with stuff in ways that I think are fun. And sometimes I like to do group checks, which is essentially where however many players you have, I add all of the roles together, and the DC is just, in this example, there's 4 players. If the DC was 10, then the group survival check DC is 40, and then all 4 of you have to beat that because you're working together, rather than it being a case where one of you does one thing or another person does another thing, which will happen here and there. In this situation, I think everyone is really just trying to make sure you go north. So it's a matter of all 4 of you working together to continue on that way. So I think if you all roll me a survival check, the group DC is 40, and it doesn't matter who does what, so long as when you add all those numbers together you beat 40. I think that's enough. Yes.
We beat it.
Oh yeah. Easy.
Easy. Yeah, you guys, you know, I think Cirrus rolled a 20 in there, so maybe you're sort of the one who, for whatever reason here, is able to discern the way north, with Sia on the 18, I think really doing the heavy lifting of figuring out, and I don't know how you guys think that you've done this in a whiteout, but you've managed to successfully stay on track and continue walking north, because this is a situation where you could go slightly one way and then you're running around in circles, or you're just heading dead south and you come across the lake again. But you do manage to go north. I don't know how, though. How do you think they did that?
Well, I have this map, and I was told to ensure that the Serpent Caverns stay to the east and the Whispering Cave stay to the west. And I think I'm trying to keep an eye on those placements as much as possible.
Yeah, I think it works. You're able to stay on target. Generally speaking, with the danger here, more so than if you were traveling through a forest, the danger might be that you're being stalked by some sort of, were-panther. Here, the danger is wasting time. The longer you spend out here, the more of those checks you have to make, the more con saves you have to make, and the further up that frozen exhaustion tracker you go. So, generally speaking, making these saves is going to stop you from wasting time, so you're able to continue going north. Choose a party leader, not really someone who's in charge, but the person who's at the head of the pack. Ideally someone with keen eyes or senses.
I'm out.
I'm out.
Well, what about you, Threk? You got keen eyes or senses?
I mean, I have both. I'm just out.
Oh, I see. All right.
I would do all right in that position.
Okay. All right.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Crack?
Correct.
Okay, make me a perception check. '21, nice. I think you're at the head of the pack here, walking along, that piccolo cloak sort of flapping out behind as the others are following you, and you're stabbing this staff into the ground. Maybe that's what does it, but here, as you bring that staff down, you recognize that the ground underfoot or under the staff suddenly gives way, not in a way that it just sort of like all falls out from under you, but in such a way that it just doesn't feel tough or like it's going to support weight. You sort of maybe pause everyone and then start hitting the area, maybe trying a foot, trying it with the staff, and you can recognize that this sort of entire region is unstable. It's not that the ground would fall in, but actually that what is probably here is that the ground itself dips down, but the level of snow remains the same. So you would potentially fall into a pit of deep snow, which it comes with all sorts of dangers, but moving across this surface is going to be impossible unless you come up with some way to do that. But generally speaking, you sort of sense and figure out that this area would be incredibly dangerous to try and pass across, and you're able to navigate them away from that and start moving around this unstable snow region. Unless you do want to try and figure out some way across it.
No. If I can easily navigate around it, I think that would be better than the alternative.
Okay. Yeah, you can move people around it. You rolled a 21. You can absolutely just avoid basically this whole area. You guys travel around this again, moving, and these checks and this travel is taking a significant amount of time. This is sort of over the course of an hour or so as you guys are moving around. Eventually you're able to get back on track, and you can continue to sort of navigate north. There is a point, however, where the storm sort of kicks up the snow. There is a wall of snow that rushes towards you for a moment, and then you're all hit by this huge gust of wind. In order to keep your balance, make me an athletics or an acrobatics check.
God.
Wow.
14.
14 for Sia, 9 for Jilden, 17 for Cirrus, and a natural 23 for Thrak.
Can I grab Jilden as she's about to fall?
Yeah?
Yeah,
you know what? I'll allow that. Yeah, you can have that on a nat 20. Yeah, that's going to stop her from failing here, which is very lucky. Because if you had failed that check, you would have had to make another check, and if you'd failed that check, you would have lost a random item. The wind sort of like knocking and buffeting you for a few minutes here, when eventually this huge sort of, the storm feels like it's kicking up and is amping up to a new level, and maybe you start to become concerned because this level of wind is not something that you're going to be able to contend with. It passes and clears once again, quieting, and you're able to continue your travel once again, making it towards the mountains that are now once again clearly ahead of you. You will need to make me one last Constitution saving throw, just for the amount of time that this takes.
For God's sake.
That'll be a 10.
3 8s.
Yeah. Sia, you do not suffer the effects of a second level, so you are
I
level
think-
1 frozen.
Right. I think it's because I'm standing behind Thrak and he's buffeting most of the wind. And I'm just.
Yeah, his broad shoulders.
Right.
The rest of you are level 2 frozen, which means that you suffer disadvantage on ability checks.
Does
From,
that, just out of curiosity, does that include the constitution checks for frozen?
Yes, it's all ability checks, so anything that isn't a saving throw or an attack roll, basically.
So the next time we're about to get... Oh, so saving throws it does not. Okay. Never mind.
Correct, yes. So
Good.
your con saves and stuff for this aren't affected. That was the thing that almost killed you during one of the session zeros that I nerfed. This is,
Gotcha.
because it was just like, oh, you can die immediately. Like it does at level 3, that will kick in, and it starts to compound badly, which makes sense to me, but it was pretty rough to have it on the second one. I am a good guy GM. In all other assets of the world and in my life, I'm a piece of shit. But when it comes to GMing, I am a benevolent god. It's the only time I'm nice. Let me have it. Cut to like 3 episodes from now when you're all like screaming at me because there's a TPK.
We're fighting an undead god.
Yeah, just literally. The snowstorm passes. You guys continue traveling, and I think we see you moving across this landscape and getting closer to the mountains ahead of you. And they're much closer once that snowstorm fades. There is ahead of you a whole mountain range, and we're going to do another group perception check, please. DC is 40 again. Nice and easy-ish.
You'd think, wouldn't you?
You'd think.
You
Normally it should
would
be.
think that.
10 is normally pretty easy.
Oh, saves the day. 20,
All right.
30.
You done it?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Disadvantage, right?
I can't do maths, which
we already
sometimes
have-
really helps.
You
and
said
sometimes
40,
doesn't.
right? We've
40.
already hit it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just double
We're
checking
there.
that we have disadvantage on this, yeah, because if we have level 2
Oh,
frozen.
that's true.
I'm
Okay.
a
Then we have
benevolent GM,
disadvantage.
but I still can't do maths, so probably shouldn't be doing it.
We have
Oh,
disadvantage
wow.
then?
Well, I'll take my roll.
Oh, yes,
Yes,
you
I need
do.
to
Those
roll
of you that
again.
are level 2
Yeah.
do have disadvantage on this. Yes, sorry.
Okay.
You're right. Thank
This is
you.
my second roll. We'll take the worst.
You
of
know,
the
it's bad when
two.
Mirggles is paying attention to
9.
the cats.
27.
So-
Oh.
Yeah, I think we still hit it.
Oh,
Yeah, I think we're okay.
Yeah, I
Funny.
think you do.
Yeah.
Luckily for you. Yeah, what you are all able to make out eventually is the sort of great serpent-style mountain to your northeast, which gives you, it is sort of one of the only landmarks in this just snow-covered mountainscape to give you an idea of where you are, specifically when it comes to the map that you were given. Directly west of that are just a set of sort of ambiguous looking mountain peaks that are home to these sort of mythical whispering caves that I'm sure you've heard of. And between the two of them, there's a pretty clear pass that allows you to move through. And assuming you head forward and you travel to those, and you can always say, no, we don't do that when I say these things, but I'm just always assuming that you're going to go that way. And then if you're like, no, we go into the serpent cave, then
He did tell us not to go in there, which makes me really want to go in
you know,
there.
you've been in them. It's the one that you went
Again.
in. Yeah, okay, yeah, you want to go in there again. It would be very interesting if you did.
Well, damn it! Don't say that.
I think we should
Sirius,
go in there and,
I keep walking
rest for a
forward.
while.
We can't now
I'm
because of
ignoring
meta.
children.
Jilden
hold
can
on.
hear me for some reason. She's
It's
like
you
that.
the devil on the shoulders.
Yeah. It's like that.
What's that?
The
What's
What
that?
If show when the characters that can hear the Watcher. You're like that one. All right.
I would say we could just step just inside the cavern and build a fire and rest for an hour.
Yes, yes.
Sounds like a plan.
We were told not to go in there at all, correct?
Let me remind myself of what he said exactly to you. Because I sort of wrote it down. Sometimes I don't, but this time I
I
did.
believe he did say don't go in there.
You did.
Or that's not where you're going, or something like that.
Do not enter
Yes, he did say you
Serpent's
should
Cavern.
not enter, yeah.
I do not think we should do that.
Do we see anything else? Maybe perhaps just enough of a windbreak from the natural formation of the land we can use to at least have a short break.
Yeah, give me a I will accept a perception or a survival check from one of you.
Can we not just like build a snow fort and just like create a wall, like a snow fort wall?
Can you?
Because
Is
it
that a skill
packing
you have?
snow? Well, I mean, I have hands.
Do you know how to do that?
I have a hand.
You watched a TikTok that let you do that? You know, is that a thing you can? Is that a thing that your character can do?
Don't.
How,
Not like
But
an
how
actual. I'm not
long-
like architectural snow fort, but just like piling snow on top of itself. No.
Brad,
thanks,
how long would it take me to remove the massive church organ that is in my knapsack of holding containing every instrument in the world? One of every instrument.
Really
Does
regretting
the
the
church
wording
come
on
with
that
the
now,
organ?
aren't I?
It says knapsack of holding containing one of every instrument. And I
Yeah,
would like
There's
to
like a
remove
pretty
from
big
it
tuba
a
you could sit in.
giant organ from a church, you know, those massive ones, and then use that as a windbreak.
Have you heard of the theremin, boy?
You're gonna regret that when we want a dramatic moment later.
Yeah, there is. So that we played 3 pre-session zeros for this campaign, which is essentially where we sort of we tested out the characters, and I ran them through some very basic sort of fetch quest, combat, etc. scenarios, just to get used to the everything and to test stuff. They are available. You can watch them if you go to merch.tablestory.tv. They are there for members.
You should, because they're really good.
And there are 3. Basically, there are
We had a lot
3
of fun with them.
prologue sessions that are canon, but you don't need to see them. If you're like, I haven't got any money, then it's fine. You don't need. Nothing's going to be like that important. But they will sometimes say stuff like, "Can I pull a church organ from my knapsack of holding?" And that is where that comes from. And I'm regretting doing that. I feel like when I gave you that, I said something like it's small, right? It's like isn't it smaller so it doesn't have pianos and shit? But I guess it.
If you said that, I did not write it down.
Yeah, I
Perhaps
don't
you
know.
wrote it
I
down
don't know if anyone
somewhere.
watched those within the week. I feel like, and I have no idea at this point. It's a knapsack of holding for a reason, because
Yeah.
I wanted it to be smaller, and it's just that you can. It has one of every handheld instrument in it. Is I guess what I should
One of
say.
every handheld
Let's go with that.
instrument. Okay.
Can
Yeah,
I do a survival check then?
because otherwise you are just going to pull out. Because you'll just pull out a grand piano and then a mahogany-based different grand piano. And just keep doing that until you can Fortnite build a house.
Out of grand pianos.
Well, I was actually going to save the grand piano and then cast levitate on it and drop it on someone, but now I can't.
I think they did that in Dying
So-
Order. They flew on a grand piano out of town or something like that. Yeah, let's say it's handheld stuff. So there's probably there's probably a big cello. That's probably the biggest thing you can pull out. Cellos, those big things that are like that, right?
Man size.
It's a
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man
Well, I
size
think-
max.
The
Yeah.
big one is a bass. The
Yeah.
medium-sized one is cello.
As much as I would love for you to pull out a church organ here and just start playing it like the Phantom of the Opera,
I have a cake, sort of. Just saying.
Yeah, that's true. You could become the Phantom of the Opera. No, let's go with handheld sort of instruments.
Could I become an orc Phantom of the Opera?
You can become anything you want. It's D&D.
That's true. Okay. Then never mind.
I will
What-
roll
what role do we
survival
need?
to see. Never mind.
Excellent.
Someone needed to roll me a
Serious.
survival or a perception check, and Cirrus rolled a natural 1, thanks to being cold. And this was to survey the area to see if there was somewhere decent for you to set up a camp of sorts or relax and you know, get out of the
Oh, what a shame. We'll have to go to the Serpent Caverns. Oh, dear.
Well, here's what I'll give you on a natural 1. The Serpent Cavern, I mean, you are at a point here where you can basically do like a big long travel over that way to the Serpent Cavern, or a big long travel over that way to the Whispering Caves, or a big long travel to the Mountain Pass. Either way, it's going to take you a bit of time. You're not like...
Right.
You're not at like an actual like T-junction where you've just got to like turn the wheel of the car one way. You sort of still got to travel all the way over to the... These are 2 separate mountains that you have to get to.
So either way, we're a big long travel away from where we need to be.
Yeah, to go to the cavern to rest is possible, but you're still going to have to travel there regardless. So
right,
you can travel... Yeah, you're going to have to pick which direction you want to head towards, and you're still gonna have to do that little bit of travel there.
Say we might as well travel in the direction that we're intending to, and also we were told not to go there.
You should make a decision soon, because the fantasy I imagined in my head is almost coming to an end and I'm getting bored.
I believe we came to an agreement that you would not speak of your fantasies out loud any longer.
I
Jordan.
don't remember actually agreeing to that. I remember you trying to twist my arm to make me agree, and I refused to open my mouth.
Yes, well, that was the first, wasn't it? Right. I suppose we should just continue on then.
Okay.
Very well.
Heading towards the mountain pass.
If it's the same distance, then
Pretty much.
yeah.
All right. Yeah. Lucky for you, there is nothing horrific between here and the sort of beginning of the mountain pass. As you walk away after you've had that conversation, we see you walk away, and just like the camera pans right to what is essentially just a Starbucks, because you rolled a natural 1. So there must be like the perfect campsite just like off screen. You know how like when you're watching TV and you're like, how did they not see that? They should have been able to see that because the camera wasn't pointed at it. There is like the most amazing campsite area just nearby, out of the wind, beautiful. Like there's like an old tent that someone set up years and years ago that's there, and you guys just missed it because that's the pain of a natural 1. And also it's very important that we all know that it wasn't my fault that you rolled a natural 1, because when they start complaining, we all know now that they walked straight past a Starbucks campsite. Okay, let's have another group perception check. However, this time it is a DC of 60.
Oh god, with disadvantage.
And 3 of us have
Disadvantage for the 3 of you with
disadvantage.
level 2
I don't.
frozen.
And I roll really well, like this.
Goodness.
My god.
Oh, wow.
3 natural 1s and 1 natural 20. Okay.
Is that
So we got 41.
is that legal? is that allowed?
I've been let down.
That is
I require a new party.
insane what we're looking at right now. 3 of you got a natural 1 and 1 of you got a natural 20, and my DM brain does not know how to
Which
calculate
I pocket called, by the way.
that. That was actually quite
think-
nice that you said.
I think Sia just levitates away.
Yeah.
And the 3 of us freeze to death.
Sia just floats. He sort of like glitches through a wall and gets to the final level of the game. And for the rest of you, your PlayStation explodes. Yeah, you get like the red ring of death. I think we're just going to treat this as what it is. You did not beat the DC, so what did you roll? Because that's also important. This is a multi-layered group check that I've done for the first time in
A
my life.
47.
Okay.
No, sorry, 41.
So you had to beat a 60 to be able to spot the Yeti, but anything under a 20 would mean that the Yeti was going to just jump on you. Lucky for you, it is just a good old-fashioned normal piece of combat with a Yeti.
Love me a piece of combat.
You can place yourselves anywhere you want to be on this map, and there is a Yeti just to the right of you, and anywhere in the dark square there. And I will bring up the turn order.
Came from the south, I'm assuming, right?
You came from the south, yes.
Yep,
You are
cool.
just at the edge of the mountain pass area here, as there is a creature that you hear. And as I think you guys are probably just like casually walking along at first, because this is extremely difficult to spot in the snow. Now, we all know what a Yeti is, but this creature is, for the most part, just a huge, furry, kind of like an ape with the white of its fur matches perfectly the white of the snow. And this thing is essentially just a gigantic ghost, until I think Sia, you suddenly hear it growl. And I'm going to need everyone to click on your token and roll initiative, please. And the rest of you would have been completely taken by surprise had this thing had Sia, and I'm just going to assume here that Sia just shouts out something to give you guys the idea that there is a creature that is very large and violent, growling and looking as if it's about to leap from a nearby set of nestled rocks into this group, because to you guys, you look like dinner. A large creature. Now I've still got all of your rolls from before. Great. So, yeah, Theras, Rag, Jilden, and the Necro Titan are no longer here.
Well, they can be if they want to be.
I don't know if you want
It's
to.
always lurking.
Was this the edge, by the way, of that border you just drew?
Let's see what happens if I press Control Z.
Okay.
Good old roll 20. Saved me there.
And we didn't long rest after the last
No.
episode.
Yeah, you did a short rest at the end of the Necro Titan fight, in which you did a bunch of hit dice.
Yep.
So you're at whatever that is. Yes.
Cool.
Okay. First person to react, regardless of the RP, there was Thrak. So yeah, you're it's just a flat. This is what's happening now. There is a giant creature that is for sure about to attack you, sort of rushing at you. It's entirely up to you guys if you know what a Yeti is. I think in terms of folklore, they are spoken about a decent amount in the village of Moon nearby. So it would be something that you can justifiably know what it is. Entirely up to you if you've seen one before. Thrak, it is your turn.
Right, I will, right, I will, take out of my components pouch a sliver of glass again, and I will, sort of toss it into the air, and as it's falling, I, chant some words, and I raise my staff. The glass shard breaks apart into dozens of different magical daggers that will create a cloud of daggers on top of the Yeti.
Okay. A cloud of daggers makes a stunning return.
It says 5 feet on each side. I know someone in chat was like, I don't think it's that big.
I didn't think so either, but
you know,
I think it is the size of where one
the RP that
player is.
matters.
But for the sake of this fight, doesn't matter. I'll wait for Wax Steven to tell me.
Okay.
This is why Wax Steven will be in my next campaign, no matter how much he kicks and screams. Because otherwise I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. Okay, so
Okay,
the
hold
first
on.
thing that happens is it takes damage, right?
Sorry, it says a creature takes 44 slashing damage when it enters the spell's area for the first time on a turn, or starts its turn there. So it says on a turn, so I think it does just take damage immediately.
Okay.
It says on a turn. So it has entered right now.
Roll damage.
So, FYI, a 5-foot cube on each side is just a 5-foot square. It's just a 5-foot square.
All right, so it
Is it
is
just a 5-foot square?
right.
So
Okay,
it's
yeah.
just the size of
It
one
is
token.
just like
Okay. Well, you know, I've played Baldur's Gate 3 and it wasn't really like that, so...
I feel like in Baldur's Gate it is like that. I think it is very small.
It's small, but it's you can definitely hit more than one person with it at a time, I think. So 44.
Nice.
Right, so 14 damage.
14
And I'm
damage.
the first to strike on this, so I'm
Oh
mark
yes,
that
you
down.
are. Yes.
Ooh.
Mark those off. I did write in our group the things. You can copy paste them onto your sheets, or I can do it for you later on if you want to be handheld. You want the shame of that. Entirely up to you. But keep tally somewhere for now. The best, if you have to tally it, I don't know who, I can't remember what everyone got. Just make a new, on your sheet, you can make a new, on the right hand side under short and long rest, there's like class resources. You can add one of those, and I tend to use that to tally other things as well. You can do that for now, up to you. Don't care how you do it. All right. Because remember that everything that happens on your character sheet and everything, every spell you have, every little class ability you have, I will never remember it or learn it unless you know. I'll help you with it when it first goes on your sheet, but beyond that, I will immediately forget it. I genuinely don't know my own name a lot of days. My memory cannot be trusted. Okay, so yeah, this thing, these blades appear in the air suddenly and just start cutting this thing up. I think it's aware, it kind of growls and just like hits at itself, sort of swiping at these cloud of daggers, sort of King Kong on the Empire State Building, batting at the little fighter planes. But it's still, I think it just immediately gives up trying to get them and then looks as if it's going to jump at you guys regardless anyway. So, yeah, do you want to do anything else on your turn, Thrak?
I move 20, I move 20 feet back.
Okay. Yeti's turn. Alright, this thing...
Yeti's
Awesome.
turn.
Are you singing Jesse's Girl? It is going to leap through the air. Boink.
Cool.
To here.
Oh, hello.
And then it is going to use an ability called Chilling Gaze on you, Sia. You need to make me a Constitution saving throw, please.
A Constitution saving throw. Very well. Constitution save.
So I think
16.
you should probably clear this up because I'm going to be using Cloud of Daggers a lot. Okay. It says a creature takes 44 slashing damage when it enters the spell's area for the first time on a turn, or starts its turn there.
Oh, yes, so it does take another. Yeah, you're right. Go on.
Mm-hmm.
So it should take another 44.
Yeah, ding it a bunch of damage. That's fine.
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
Number 10.
Another 10. Nice. Okay. So, yeah, it does that. This thing does gives you an icy stare But you make your saving throw. Now let's see. Do you take any damage? No, I don't think so. Oh, you just don't get to take any. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, you don't suffer the effects. You can feel this thing has a sort of it's almost like a magical stare as it casts, as you sort of make eye contact with it. You feel this sensation like it's casting almost as if it's casting a spell on you, but you shake off the ability and survive it. And that is the end of its turn because it can't quite get to where you are. Your turn.
All right, I think I kind of squint at it as it does that move, and I'm going to run down to the southwest of its mass, and then from there I'm going to pull out my quarterstaff and spin, and as I spin, that momentum is going to swing and hit for a 12.
That hits.
Okay, so for a 12, and that's going to be 9 points of bludgeoning damage. With my crusher feet, I'm going to push it back 5 feet away from me to the northeast.
Okay. So, there?
Yes. Then I'm going to pursue it, and from there I'm going to channel into my key. And if the camera was on me right now, you would see that just underneath my hairline, I have these 6 pink or magenta lines on my forehead. And as I do this, they open up almost like eyes, like the eyes of a spider perhaps. And as I do, I'm going to unleash a flurry of blows as I make one unarmed strike on the creature for a 25 to hit.
5 hits.
For 8 points of bludgeoning damage. And then I'm going to use another unarmed strike again. 22 to hit.
22 hits.
For another 5 points of bludgeoning damage. And as I do this, I am going to just double check and see. Okay. And yes. So now they have to make a strength saving throw as I've used a key point or be moved 15 feet away from me. With my open hand technique, as my eyes open and I channel into my key. 11, they fail, and they get blasted another 15 feet away from me.
Okay, is that 15 feet? Nice. Yeah. Yeah, this is just exactly what it looks like. It is the most anime thing you've ever seen in your entire life. As he just rushes forward, hits it, it moves backwards, then there's like a slow-mo as he does like a and then it ends with this thing just like flying backwards through the snow, stumbling, pinwheeling its arms. Kind of looks rocked. This creature looks kind of messed up. It is Jilden's turn.
I'm kind of like hobbling forward.
Stop pushing him away from me! How am I supposed to reason with him if he can't hear me?
And then I'm gonna...
Damn you!
And then...
Fuck reasoning.
And then I spin my staff in the air, and a big sphere appears. It looks a little bit moon-like, and it looks very, very hot as it appears. A lot of the snow around just melts, and it goes speeding towards the Yeti, and it will need to do a dexterity saving throw.
Okay. Dex save, 14.
That makes it, but it's going to still take half damage, which is 2d6. Wait, what did I just do?
You wrote D26. Somehow
Nice.
came out as a 2. I don't know why that
I
wasn't.
don't know why.
I don't know.
That was really confusing. It'll take
8.
half of that, so it'll take 4 damage.
How do you kill it?
Oh, yes! This flaming sphere will sort of circle on top of it and then just plonk down on top of its head, and slowly it'll just melt straight through its body until all that's left is a husk.
Nice.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's beautiful. We all sort of witness this happen. And you kill this Yeti.
I could have just reasoned with it.
However, from behind you, in the snow, is Yeti number 2.
Don't tell me that was a baby Yeti.
And Yeti
Oh,
number
no.
3. Now this transforms this combat from one that was pretty easy to one that is now very dangerous. And I think you would have the knowledge in character to be aware of that. As 2 more Yetis appear behind you.
Feel the challenge rating increasing.
Yes. You feel the challenge rating increase to one of significant danger. And it's still your turn, Jildan.
Oh, cool. I'm going to move, shuffle away as slowly as I am, which I can only do 20 foot, so it's going to be around there.
What about reason?
I don't think I can reason with 2 of them.
And that is the end of my turn.
Okay. Yeti. Alright, we're going to call this one Blue Yeti, because I have to. And the other one is Red Yeti. Sounds like an amazing rap name. Alright. Blue Yeti. We are not sponsored by Blue Yeti. Just for
I just got it.
He's gonna,
I used to own one of those,
yeah?
actually. Yeah.
That's why it's come to fight you.
He's coming for you, Thrak. Oh, you know what? Actually, no, he's
Good
going to
luck.
come here. I think he's just going to go. He's just going absolutely insane. Once the other Yeti is killed, you see these Yetis rush out. Actually, these 2 Yetis look a little smaller than the one that was killed. They look they're not like baby Yetis. They just look slightly smaller, a little thinner. And you get the sense that maybe the other Yeti was the big Yeti, the big sort of alpha Yeti. And do you know what's really funny? Is when I made this encounter during the week, I had such a great plan to put a little dot on the first Yeti. Like, you know, so that you can differentiate between the Yetis, and that was going to be my clue that there was other Yetis, so I feel bad. But I thought that would be really cool. You know what I mean? Because you'd be like, why has he put a blue dot on it? There's not multiples. Completely forgot. Doesn't matter. Here we go. 1 claw attack is coming down towards Thrak. 1 claw attack is coming down towards Jildan. And 9 and an 8. I'm guessing they both miss.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
These claws on this creature come swinging at you. It's kind of just wildly rushing at you, though. It's very easy to read its movements, and the 2 of you, Thrak maybe dodges out of the way. Jildan, you maybe feel it hit part of your shell. I think some of your AC is just that you are half shell, you know.
All of it is.
Every time I don't
Nature's
make
armor.
it, it's always just hitting the shell.
Total power.
Yeah. However, Thrak, I need you to make me a con saving throw as this thing fixes you with those blue Yeti eyes. Its chilling gaze. A 5. Okay, the first thing that happens to you is you take 3d6 cold damage.
You know,
You take-
I'm gonna actually say that as the cold eye hits me, I realize that I am about to be in a bad way with a Yeti, and nobody
could do something
likes
sick.
that. Okay,
You have the spell, don't you?
we both do.
Yeah.
But we both have to do it.
Yeah, I'll do it. Reaction?
Okay.
If another creature
I
casts
look
it in front
to
of you.
Jildan and nod.
Yes!
And I do the usual throwing my hand out to hit you in the nuts. And
She attempts to hit my nuts, which she's already taken.
but we
Okay.
instead hold hands.
We hold hands. Can we hold hands from this distance?
Yeah, I don't
We
even know
are
if you can do
stab
what the move you're trying to do at this distance, because I can't remember how I wrote it.
Oh,
so
it is within
I believe you have to
5
be.
feet, I
Oh
think.
no.
The downside to your little chrono trigger move here is that at all times in battle, you guys want to be holding hands. Basically, you want to be next to each other.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't want to.
Yeah, that's how. Otherwise it's just insane. So that is the thing. Also, Thrak,
Yeah.
you're paralyzed. So.
Well, can I do my thing then
Yep.
instead of this? 'Cause
Sorry.
wasn't gonna do
I
that.
don't know, because you take this damage and then become paralyzed, I believe, immediately. So I think you just lose your
I
reaction.
have a reaction.
But do you?
But I have, yes. I do. Shall I
Well-
read it to you?
Well, no, I'm not saying that you don't have a reaction. What I'm saying is that because you're paralyzed, you can't
You
use
make
a
this
reaction.
decision after you see whether the roll succeeds or fails.
Oh, you're doing that, right? Yes, absolutely. You can do
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Okay, so
Sorry, I thought you were
it's,
doing your other.
No, I'm
mage.
doing the time
Yeah,
wizard
this is absolutely
bullshit.
yeah. You're a chrono mage. You can always chrono
Yeah,
me.
so as the eyes hit me and I sort of see what it does to me, it paralyzes me and
And then it
hurts
bites
a
off your
lot.
head.
Yeah, and I see a bit into the future. It bites off of my head and drinks of my blood, spurting from my open neck wound.
Yeah.
So I sort of ethereal clock sort of appears in front of me as I concentrate, and it clicks backwards, and everything that I just saw happen sort of reverses, and I get to try again with my concentration saving throw.
Okay.
And
Oh.
it's 22 this time.
All right. Yeah. So the effect does not take hold. You don't take any cold damage. So you can take that 12 HP loss back. Worded that so bizarrely. And you can, and you're not paralyzed, and that doesn't happen. So the chilling gaze does not take effect here. That is the end of that Yeti's turn as well. All right,
It's
this
a
one.
chronology wizard, by the way, for those
Right.
asking.
That's what he is, yeah. This one's coming up here, rushing up behind you, Jilden. 2 attacks on your half shell. 14s.
miss.
Double 14s.
Yeah, no, both miss. So
All right, and then you can make me the con save.
oh dear.
That's the chilling gaze.
10.
That's a fail.
No.
Do you have any chrono mage abilities?
No, but I do have absorb elements.
Yeah, but unfortunately you're paralyzed. So you take 12 damage as well, 12 cold damage, and you are paralyzed for 1 minute.
Ooh,
Ooh, that's a
Unless
long
you
time.
are immune to cold damage.
immune.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think I can negate some of it, but I'm not immune.
Okay. Okay.
12 damage.
Yes. And then you are paralyzed. At the end of your turns, you can re-attempt the saving throw. It is
Can you remind me how the concentration throws work again? I've done one in a while.
concentration. If you have a concentration spell up, so if you have a spell that has the concentration ticked on it, if you take damage, you have to make a Constitution saving throw.
Con
And yeah, to hold that up, the DC of that is 10 or half of the maximum amount. I think it
Cool.
can be.
I have rolled a 20 and continue concentrating somehow.
Okay. What spell do you have up?
Flaming sphere.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, and I'm gonna give you a thing. I'm gonna put like he's got for Cloud of Daggers, a little movable thing.
Oh,
he
yes.
used. Okay, it is now Sirius's turn.
Yes. I am going to place my hand on the tattoo that's on my arm on my shoulder, and I'm going to use Emboldening Bond.
Okay.
I can forge an empowering bond among people who are at peace with one another. As an action, you choose a number of willing creatures within 30 feet of you, equal to your proficiency bonus, so that's 2. And I'm choosing Thrak and Jildan. You create a magical bond among them for 10 minutes or until you use this feature again. While any bonded creature is within 30 feet of another, the creature can roll a d4 to add the number rolled to an attack roll, ability check, or saving throw it makes. Each creature can add the d4 no more than once per turn. And then I am going to also cast, as a bonus action, Shield of Faith on Thrak.
Nice. Okay. There is a golden
That's it.
sphere, which I think is somewhere over here. You should be able to move that around, Leah.
Oh, okay. Unfortunately, I do think Myre said paralyzing breaks concentration.
That's
so-
true, actually. Yes, of course, you're paralyzed. That will 100% break your concentration. But we have that for next time.
Suffering.
If it's the right size.
Pain.
I don't know how big the sphere is. Okay, so you have done a round of buffing. Everyone is aware of what these
Yes.
buffs do. Would you like to move? You can move on your turn too.
Yeah, I'm going to run away.
Run away.
I'm gonna
Okay.
move away slightly over to Seer.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's it.
Thrak, it's your turn.
Okay. I think that I sort of see this great beast in front of me, you know, probably growling, drooling, doing beast things. And I think for a moment yeah. And for a moment you might notice me sort of crouch down and look like maybe I'm just about to grapple this thing and get into a fight with it. But I do not. And instead I will cast... Oh, I think I can cast this. I tried to cast Thunderwave. No, I might hit Jordan. I'm gonna do Frostbite, which is a weird spell you may not be aware of, so I'll put it in here. You cause numbing frost to form on one creature that you can see within range. The target must make a Constitution saving throw. On a failed save, the target takes 1d6 cold damage, and it has disadvantage on the next weapon attack roll it makes before the end of the next turn. So I'll cast that on the Yeti. Actually, wait, that says weapon attack, doesn't it? Would that be... That wouldn't count for, like, if it hits me with his big... nasty paws.
No, I think that does count. I think a weapon attack roll is just sort of stating that it can't be a spell.
Okay.
Its claw attacks would be a weapon attack roll.
Okay, then yeah, I'll cast that on the Yeti. And now I'm new to spells in D&D.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean it's my spell save DC?
Yes. So it
And my
rolls a con save, which is a 20. And
Okay,
your
yeah,
spell
well.
save on your sheet will be intelligence you should be using. So
Yeah.
it's in the top of your spell sheet area.
Right, yeah, it's 14, so...
Okay. So it makes it save. I think, you know what, for the sake of it, I'm going to say that the cold does sort of rush across this creature and completely does not affect it whatsoever.
Okay.
And you recognize that the spell has sort of not taken effect at all on top of that.
Right. Yeah, that's all I can do.
Okay.
How far can you move that cloud of daggers, by the way, or can it not move?
I don't think I can move it. Yeah,
Okay.
I can't.
Not like the moonbeam. Okay.
No.
All right.
Okay, Sia's turn.
Very well. Thinking. I guess. Oof. That's gonna be a hard thing to do. So I guess I'm not gonna try. Instead, I'm going to run this way towards the northern side of the Red Yeti, and then I am going to try and thwack it with my quarterstaff.
Give it a thwack.
With an 11.
11 is a miss.
11 misses. All right, then as I swing and I miss, I look up, and again, my magenta eyes on my forehead are already still open looking at this creature. I am going to now, again, do Flurry of Blows for a 22 to hit.
22 definitely hits.
For 6 points of bludgeoning damage. And then I'm going to use another attack, 17 to hit.
17 hits.
Okay. For this attack, as I punch with an open hand, it stops just millimeters before it contacts. I'm going to open my palm, and as I do, there's going to be a small wave that you could probably see if the camera was close enough, and it's going to ripple on his chest, and they need to make a dexterity saving throw or be knocked prone as I use another one of my open hand techniques.
18. I'm rolling good now.
You are, and so it doesn't take hold. Then they are not knocked prone.
But it still takes the bludgeoning damage, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else?
They are knocked 5 feet away from me.
Done.
And I run. And then I'm going to then go 5, 10, 15, 20.
Alright. Jilden.
As I just jump backwards.
The beginning of your turn happens. You can't do anything because you're paralyzed. The end of your turn happens, and you can make me another con save, please. Natural 20. You know what? For a natural 20, I'll let you have your action. Right.
Yeah.
And then. And after that.
Wow,
And
I
then
can't
what-
believe she said that, honestly.
Yeah, that's not cool. Unmute yourself.
Yep. Okay. Cool. And that's funny.
Try again. Right. The
Most
chrono.
of that was me going. So don't worry.
Chrono mage time reversal happens. And,
Okay, hang on. And that's funny.
Yay!
I'm still not prepared. Hang on.
Wow.
No.
Right, to chrono mage time reversal
a
again.
mess.
Yeah, we're doing it again.
Remember
it again.
that you
I know,
get.
there's a lot to
I need to
consider.
get a sound effect for that, don't I?
Yeah, I'm on it.
Yeah.
There's a lot to
Remember that you
consider.
get to roll a d4 and add it to your
yeah.
attack roll, ability check, or saving throw.
Oh, wait. And I am not in
You're
that, am I?
not. No.
Okay.
No. Just Thrak and Jilden right now.
It has to be two people that like each other.
Oh, I see. Well,
Yeah, it's gonna be a
why-
problem with this party, isn't it?
Sia will never receive the blessing.
I think it's pretty obvious Jilden is in love with Frank.
Yeah, it's
How
the
much
only
attention she gives him.
only vague slither of a reason that spell takes hold on anyone right now.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna wild shape, and I'm gonna be I'm gonna wild shape into a brown bear.
Ooh.
You just sort of see me expand and just roar. I think this is probably the closest thing Jilden knows to whatever one of these Yetis is at this point in time. So, and then I'm going to multi-attack. Which one's looking? Are any of them looking kind of raggedy?
The
Just the
red
red
one is the only one that's taken any damage, yeah.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna try and bite the red one.
Okay. Now you should have access to a brown
I
bear.
just roll like this.
But you can, yeah, do whatever you want to do.
Doesn't really fit, does it? Okay, that's an 18 to hit for a bite.
18 hits.
And a 1d8. That's 8 piercing damage. And then I'm gonna hit again with a claw attack, which is a 13 to hit.
That hits.
Nice. And then I'll look at the actual thing. That's going to be 12 slashing
Oh
damage.
wow, how do you kill it?
Ah, yeah.
It's
So
exactly how much
I'm in a
HP it has
rage.
left.
If there's anything Jildan hates more than anything, it's being forcibly shut up. And as she has been paralyzed, that is what's happened. So she just sort of like just descends into this bear and tears into its neck, and then claws its eyes, and basically is so angry that she claws its face full off. It's just faceless on the floor.
This is probably insane to witness because this thing looks at you, you freeze, everyone sees you freeze, it gets punched by Sia, and then suddenly you just turn into a bear, and these two huge creatures just start beating each other until eventually the Yeti hits the ground, missing a face, as you successfully defeat one of them. I presume that's the end of your turn?
Yes, that's everything.
Right, the other Yeti is going to freak out, and it's going to attempt to hit you with both of its claws because you just killed the other Yeti.
His cousin.
It hates you.
Yeah,
His cousin.
That's one hit.
23 is probably going to hit. Yeah, so you take 6 slashing damage and 4 cold damage.
Cool.
And then I think has everyone been chilling dazed? Actually, no, I think it can just keep doing this. All right, you know what? Thrak, give me a Constitution saving throw. As it
Lovely.
attempts to freeze you in place while it deals with the bear. 16 makes it. You're good. All right, Cirrus.
Excellent.
All right. Okay. Sorry, I had a plan, but then one of the Yetis went down, so now I'm wondering. I have to reorganize.
Oh, how
my
dare you
plan.
ruin Mirggles' plan, Leah.
Well,
Shame on you.
Ah! That's all you can hear.
Yeah. Coming out of this absolutely ginormous bear. Yeah, go on.
sorry. Okay. I think I'm going to. Oh. Okay. I'm gonna cast Guiding Bolt on the one that's still standing.
Okay. What is that? A dex save for
I
me?
believe I still have.
Oh no, it's just an attack roll, right?
Yeah, it's just an attack roll. I still have disadvantage, right, on everything, ability checks.
No,
include
not
spells?
on
No?
attack rolls.
Okay,
And
perfect.
saving throws. Just it's like basically your skills essentially.
Okay, cool. So that's 17.
17 is a hit.
17. Okay. And I will do that.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
One of the things
Well,
on that
12.
bond table is roll the lowest amount of damage, like 2 or 3 times in a row or something. But I mean, 12 is still pretty good. This guiding bolt comes down, hits this Yeti. It's sort of just engaged with a bear at this point.
Yeah.
Shoots a filthy look at Thrak and then just starts wailing on the bear form of Jildan, and then just gets struck by this thing. I don't think it's aware of where it came from or what that was, but you just see this Yeti going absolutely insane.
Yeah.
And you deal the damage to it. What else would you like to do on your turn, if anything?
Yeah, I'm going to. I am going to cast Shield of Faith on Jildan, so that would stop the concentration on Thrak and switch it to Jildan.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And that's it.
Get your faith off me! Ah!
You are surrounded by the cold warmth of Voriel as the Shield of Faith settles on you, and your AC goes up by 2. Thrak, it's your turn.
Right, okay. Since frost didn't work last time, I think I'll try fire. And I'm casting Fireball. No, just kidding. Firebolt.
Yeah.
Firebolt.
This is a ranged attack at close range, by the way.
Oh, yeah, so that's disadvantage, isn't it?
Yep.
Alright, never mind. Then just ruin everything. I'm gonna hit him in... you know what? I do get pissed off
Okay.
because I'm about to cast Fireball and I hear a voice in my head that, that's a ranged attack. I hear the voice of God being a dickhead. And so I get real mad and I...
Let me just write that down. So I'm sorry, it was a dickhead, right?
Oh,
Just
God. No, just kidding.
Oh.
It was just me being in character because I'm doing this voice.
Oh, that's okay then.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I mean, you should know, in London, saying something like that is like, hey, buddy.
Yeah.
So I get pretty upset and and I hit it with my staff, I
Yeah.
think.
Give me that attack roll. 15 hits.
15. 4 damage.
4 damage. All right.
That is the lowest I could have rolled on damage.
Yeah, that's all coming from your strength stat, isn't it? I mean, yeah. I mean, you still hit it. You find purchase. You strike this thing. It sort of like obviously doesn't like completely cripple this thing, but you notice it react. You can tell that you've dealt some damage to it. Want to do anything else in your turn?
Grappling is not that's an attack roll, right?
Yes.
That's not like a movement. Okay.
I'll do it
Then-
on an action unless you have some
Nope.
bullshit.
Nope.
All right, see ya.
Son of a yes. I'm going to run 25 feet towards the creature, and then I'm going to see where Thrak just thwacked the Yeti
Just
on
right
the head.
nose. Yeah.
Okay. In that case, I'm going to then take a step forward and twist
I'm going
and
to give you a boost so you can hit the nose.
swing. I'm not that short. Swing horizontally up into its face to hit it with my quarterstaff
Okay.
for a 24 to hit.
24 hits.
That's 7 points of bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
And I suppose I would like to move it 5 feet away from me. I don't believe that invokes opportunity attacks, though, does it? When I knock things back? No.
Yeah, it has to move away.
Okay. Then I move ever closer, and I've spent 2 key points already. But I'll spend another one. And I'm going to then launch at it again with a punch, using my staff as a spring. 12 to hit.
12 hits.
5 points of bludgeoning damage.
Yeah, it's dizzy. It looks messed up, but it's still standing.
All right, and then an axe kick to the top of its head. A jumping axe kick because it's taller than me.
Okay.
A dirty 20 to hit.
30-20 is definitely going to hit. You got to do 3 damage.
5 points.
How
of
do you
bludgeoning
kill
damage.
it?
So I jump in the air with a crescent kick. It slams down on its head, and it falls with the momentum of the kick. It's almost as if it gets decapitated, the way the head just falls and the body follows down with it, and then the jaw shatters on the ground as everything just lands on the ground with it. And it, with the impact, the body kind of does the worm, and it's dead.
Yeah,
Ow.
sure. Yeah, the last Yeti just spins, turns. There's a sickening thud as it... the sound of the snow and the crunch of the snow as this thing falls dead to the ground, and you maybe stand for a moment just to see whether another Yeti jumps out at you, but it seems as if you have successfully defeated all of the Yetis and you are out of combat.
Yeah. I think Thrak would walk up to one of them and sort of kneel down, and he gets some of the blood on his hand, and he's sort of studying it there. Intensely studying.
I'm just kind of yanking a horn off, I think. Not that kind of way, but I would like a horn.
Yeah, you can make me a survival check. Thrak, you can make me an investigation check. Are you looking for something specific?
I don't need to make a check. Thank you.
Oh, what, are you doing something that I'm not aware of? What are you trying to do?
Just role playing. It's
Oh, okay. I thought you were like trying to make a potion or something.
no.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. You can do that. Yeah, Seer, you take a horn from one of these creatures quite easily. Sort of take a moment to sort of cut and remove it from its skull because it's part of its skull. But then you do it in such a way that it doesn't butcher it in a bad way because you are butchering. And yeah, you can have the you have a Yeti horn. Rack can have some blood for free. Why not? Yeah.
I'm eating a corpse.
And
Did
you're
you
just
say
eating
you're
it.
eating a corpse?
The Yeti
Right now.
corpse. Yep.
Right, okay.
Assuming
I
they're
think
like
I
flesh
see-
and blood, then
I'm staring. I'm watching her do this.
I'm still a bear, so
Yeah, she's a
I'm
giant bear.
aware.
tearing into
I know. I'm
I'm just
enthralled by
witnessing
this.
all of this with horror
Say,
confusion.
these things seem
I'll
rather
taste the
quite
blood while you're
resistant
doing
to
it.
the snow. I wonder if perhaps we can taunt on them and then just maybe perhaps use them the rest of the way.
Actually, that's an excellent idea. Can I skin these things and use it as extra protection against the cold?
Yeah, let me just do one Google here. How long does it take to skin a bear?
Well, in Wild RP, it takes about 5
One
seconds.
4
second,
seconds.
Are you? Is anyone proficient with survival?
I
Our
actually
bear
am,
might
is,
yes.
I
be.
think. Oh, okay, you guys all are. I'm just going to sit back again.
Yes, I'm proficient with survival.
I
also.
am also proficient.
Man,
Drow.
Mine's
That worked out.
useless.
This is gonna take an hour to do.
An hour. How about, would we know about how long we're away from our goal?
mm-mm.
I mean, yeah, you've still got to navigate the entire mountain pass. You've got to get through this mountain range, and then you've still got to get across. You're in an area known as the Snowfields, which is the very north area of the Kingdom of Uma, and then you've still got to navigate even further north across a sort of just flat plains land of snow called the Pure Lands, and then you've got to get across a channel of water onto an island.
So like days.
You've got straight up days of
Okay,
travel
so
ahead of
absolutely, I would try to skin this thing.
you. Okay.
Yeah, it's worth it.
Yeah.
As they're skinning it, since it's taking an hour, could I use one of our fire kits? I believe we did get something like that from the temple. At least I did.
Yeah, you can try and make a fire here. It's not really an ideal camping ground, but you can make do with there's like the rock that it was standing on that maybe will block some of the sort of cold Arctic wind, and you start to attempt to make a fire here while the others maybe drag one of the Yeti corpses over. Jilden's just eating one for a while, and then Thrak and Cirrus drag one of the others over behind. Whoever's butchering the Yeti can make me a survival check, and Seer, you can make me a survival check as well. Let's see how well you do for the
Would Jilden's still a bear? I was going to
Before that
make
happens.
her make the fire. Yeah, go on.
The emboldening bond lasts for 10 minutes. Are we out of that 10 minutes right now? If we've just
I'd say
finished
no.
and we're
You
just
can
writing?
you can use it for the first check here. Yeah.
Okay, so Thrak, you
Nice.
have a D4 to add.
Plus D4. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I got a 20.
Plus.
Got a 24.
24.
I'm so upset that I have disadvantage because 26 would have been amazing.
Oh, yeah, I have disadvantage. Sorry,
Yes,
let me
you
roll
do,
that
yeah.
again.
Yeah.
So I got a 16.
A 16 and an 8. All right, let's have Sia's survival roll. Or is that what it is?
11.
Is that the 11?
Yes.
Okay, well,
The fire.
you do make a fire. It's not very easy to do here, but you clear an area, maybe pull some rocks together and make a little sort of rock-based campfire with, like, you know, clear some of the snow and then a circle of rocks. And sit for a while. It takes a decent amount of time before the fire gets going, and then but you do eventually create essentially a campfire for people to work by. Over this time and over the course of the next hour, Cirrus and Thrax start to butcher the Yeti here, and it's not perfect. This is, and you don't just sort of come out of this with like a perfect Yeti pelt. But after the hour, you do have a sort of blood-covered raw Yeti pelt here. The thing that you have is not a coat, but what you're intending to do is sort of like clean it, which you can presumably do relatively well with like snow and, you know, like, and just scraping flesh off of the inside of the skin of this thing. I mean, generally speaking, you need to sort of like dry it, right? And you're supposed to essentially cure the skin into leather and then, you know, and all that process, the basics of which I barely know. But what you have is you have Yeti skin and pelt. You have one Yeti pelt.
Nice.
What is
so
the
brutal?
Yeah,
it's
what
so
is
absolutely gory and brutal.
Yeah.
I've got blood all on.
It's
I'm
everywhere.
breathing heavy.
Yeah.
Like,
The side of this fire is there's just a segment of it which is just blood covered Yeti.
Yeah.
Just a little further out is just a carcass of a torn up one.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm just hugging my knees and
It's
watching everybody
nasty.
get to work.
with a bear sat next to it. I can't remember how long
It's
you
awful.
can stay in bear form, but I assume you stay in bear form for a while because it's warm.
I think it's 2 hours.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to assume because I would stay as a bear as long as possible in the cold.
Oh yeah,
It's
absolutely.
much better.
My question for you, is this a comfortably warm place that we will work in? Because if so, then we lose our frost effects.
Yes, you
No, you wouldn't.
you lose 1 level of it.
They're level 3, right?
Right.
2.
Oh, they're level 2. So recovering
Okay.
from freezing, and I'll just say it for the sake of the audience as well. When it comes to healing freezing, a creature with 2 or fewer levels of freezing can remove all levels by taking a short rest in a comfortably warm environment, which I think can be open to interpretation, but I think this would be a comfortably warm environment, certainly for the bear. You got the fire going, which is really all I wanted to check for that. You know what we're going to do here? Sia, roll me a d4 plus 2. This is how much wood you have. 4.
I have 4 wood.
We're going to call it 4 uses of like the amount of wood that it would take to make a campfire and to expend one of them. So like mark that down somewhere. We'll go to you as the campfire
Not
guy.
including all the instruments I have, of course.
You can absolutely start breaking down some of those instruments and get crazy later on. But we'll say that you have sort of 4, you know, Darkest Dungeon campfires that you can use. But I think that I think it's fair that this is kind of warm enough that you recover from your freezing. So all of you are down to 0 again. So you've got your speed back and your disadvantage and stuff like that. I thought you removed 1 as well, but who knows? You know, just making it up as we go along, so it doesn't matter. A creature with 3 or fewer levels of freezing recovers fully after taking a long rest in a comfortably warm environment. Also, a hot meal or beverage removes a single level of freezing once, after which a creature cannot benefit again until it finishes a long rest. So there's that one too. That's what I was thinking. Okay, so yeah, an hour passes. You don't incur another freezing and you don't, and you lose the thing, and you also have what is also, and I'm going to go ahead and say it, an insanely heavy Yeti pelt. However, give me an investigation check, anyone. I assume Thrak or Cirrus, whichever one of you wants to do it. The two that were working on this.
I will
you,
do
Brad, for sure,
investigation.
yeah.
Yeah. 16.
You're pretty sure that if you...
Sorry. No,
Yeah.
I don't have disadvantage anymore. Never mind. Go ahead.
Right. You're pretty sure that if you are able to wear this Yeti pelt effectively, in some way, it will provide a significant boon against the cold and the effects of the cold of the area. But just sort of wearing a ragged pelt isn't going to do it. However, transforming this into some sort of coat, or like, you know, going some measure to transforming this into some sort of thing that you can actually wear, and reducing the weight of it as well, because it's huge, is going to give you a boon against the sort of frozen effect.
Okay.
And that,
I would like to argue, based on my past, that maybe I know how to skin things, and maybe I know how to make this into something.
Okay. Yeah, I think you do know how to make it into something. It's just whether you have the time and the resources to do it right now.
Right. Okay.
I would argue back. That's fine that you know how to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. What sort of time commitment do you think we'd be talking about here?
I have absolutely no idea.
Probably like a long rest, like a full day, or something, like a half day or something like that.
Yeah, I genuinely, I was brought up in a big city called London. I didn't see a field until I was a man, and by then it was blinding. I have no idea about how to pelt things and like what the process is of turning this thing into a thing. But let's go with long rest.
Okay.
I'm going to say this. What I would like to do is I would like to use the bones of the Yeti to sort of craft a... I don't know what it's called, but when you're tanning things, you need to stretch it out.
Mm-hmm.
So sort of use the bones and other parts of the body to sort of stretch this fur out. And then I would like to place it into my knapsack of holding and just let it dry in there. And then we can move on.
I would just say that the 5e rules for crafting are really harsh, so like probably going off script is probably the best for this. Because
I'm not even gonna look.
Yeah,
I refuse.
To make a breastplate takes 40 days.
Yeah, I sort of recall something from 2016 that I looked at that was like how to create a ring or something. It was just like the process is the type of thing that you have to do in like carousing usually, which is downtime between sessions. In Orthodox D&D, a lot of people, I think, because in their sessions there's like they have spans of time that happen, whereas I tend to run this like it's a TV show, so there's very rarely ever going to be time between sessions where like 6 months passes. What we were doing before this really is what a lot of D&D is like. There will very rarely ever be a chance for carousing and stuff like that. So, and I don't want you to not be able to do things that you want to do. So the way that you're going about it, I think, is the way we go about it. We'll have at some point during, I think what it will be, and this is I think how you should approach it. What you'll need to do is a long rest in which you don't rest. Right? Because a long rest, you're not supposed to be working on something or casting spells and doing things. So
Okay.
Whenever there's a point where everyone takes a long rest of like 8 hours or so, if you are fine and don't feel like you want to recover any HP and you don't want to sleep and you don't want to recover your spells and stuff for whatever reason, in that time you can choose to forego the rest effect and just work on this thing, and then it will be done, and you'll have the item at the end of it. However, you won't get the rest. If you guys, and generally speaking, again, this is a thing that I don't tend to mark off, and just sort of, this is, what are those, like people will just be like, this food is free, but if you want to give us some money, what is that called? you know when you go to like a shop and they just let you pay what you want for the food? What is that called? Because that's how I run.
Stealing.
Like a voluntary donation.
Oh man, it's called something. It's like a raw.
I know it is. I know what you're talking about.
So like you, if you guys don't do long rests and you guys are awake for like a week or whatever, you will start to suffer effects like exhaustion. That honor system.
Right. Okay. So
that's how
on the honor system, what I would do then instead of resting this evening is I would craft a buster sword out of moon rock that allows me to fly.
That's how most
can just continue
players,
on with
I'm sure, would go for it. But that's also how this campaign immediately ends. So it's a little give take with the honor system.
Right.
So that's generally speaking, that's how we'll approach that. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Here is not a great place to take a long rest. You can.
No, I don't.
But you have had the effects of a short rest, so you guys get back any abilities you get on a short rest, and also you can roll hit dice. You will have some left unless you use them all during your last short rest. You get hit dice back on a long rest. You get half of your hit dice back, rounded up.
How long has it been? I need to know for arcane recovery because I can only use it once per day. How long has it been since the last session? It hasn't been like
only a few hours.
Okay.
You guys will woke up at like 3 a.m. I think is what I said. I think that's what I wrote down maybe. It is about to be like sunrise, so it's probably only been about three hours in total since the beginning of the last session. You haven't like traveled. This isn't like Lord of the Rings when they're running across the fields and it's like, oh, that was you're telling me that was 3 years they were running for. I feel
they were Forrest Gumping it.
Yeah. It's really only been a matter of hours.
Running.
It's approaching dawn now. I think actually we'll say that by the end of this hour, dawn finally does crest the horizon here as the light reflecting off of these endless snowfields starts to illuminate the area around you in a way that gives you a much better idea of where you are and what's going on. The weather is relatively calm, but it's up to you guys what you want to do now. Assuming you can sort of pack up and move on, or you can continue to rest.
Well, I walk up to Thrak and I say, make sure to save some of that bone so you can make needles for sewing.
Yes, I got the good bits of bone. I think the little finger bones are the best. So I did keep some of those. And I pop this tanning rack, as Chat has said it's called, into the bag of holding, and I'm ready. I'm looking at the others like I'm ready to go.
Shall we?
Yes, if we have to, I suppose. Fine.
Okay. As the sun starts to rise over the peaks of the mountains, you are moving through a pass. There is a mountain range to the right of you, a mountain range to the left of you, and you guys are sort of just moving through. really there's only north and south to go. So in terms of navigation and stuff, it's much easier to move through this area. The terrain gets a little choppy here and there, with there being it's extremely hilly, and there's probably areas where you have to straight up climb and boulder across rougher parts, but generally speaking you're just sort of winding ever so slightly northwest through this mountain pass, and it's very easy to do so as the sun finally gets up to a position in the sky that gives you a really good idea of what you're actually seeing. Now that you've cleared nighttime, you can really survey the area. So I would ask for another set of, you know what, actually someone who is the designated survivalist, you can give me a survival check.
I think that's serious.
Or
Yeah,
you know what, here's what I'll say. One person can make me a survival check and one person can make me a perception check. Two different people.
Well, I'm proficient in both, so I can do one.
Yep, up to you.
I can do the survival. I have a good bonus for it.
I think at some point I'm back to my normal form as well. I've de-wild shaped. I'm no longer a bear.
Yeah, I think, I mean, it's probably been about an hour since you guys left the camp, so that's 2 hours, and you just hop back into...
It's a nat 20 on perception for
Nat
25.
20 and an 18. All right, both of you are aware of something. There is a sound for perception natural 20 that sort of starts to register on your senses first. As you start moving forward, there's just this weird crackling noise that I think, Jilden, for a while, you're the only one who can hear it over the wind, and you're just, it's almost like a tinnitus, like maybe you're like hitting them, like, you know, where is this sound coming from, and no one's sort of aware of it. And you continue to walk. There's a point where you get the sense that the sound is coming from the right-hand side of, or the eastern side of this mountain pass. This pass isn't like an enclosed thing where the mountains are both either side of your hands. It's pretty wide. But there is a weird sound and a weird sensation that you're picking up coming from the eastern side. Cirrus, it actually looks a lot easier to maneuver through this area of the pass on the eastern side as well. So both of you, for different reasons, are sort of being pulled towards the eastern side of the pass, unless you don't want to go over there.
Thrak, can you stop crunching so loudly? I'm trying to hear something.
I don't understand why you feel the need to always blame me for every odd sound you hear. It's probably your brain rattling
You make
around.
a lot of weird sounds, like what was that sound you made last night? I've not heard that one before. It's kind of like a groan, and stop. Can you hear that?
I've told you before. Stop judging me on my dreams.
Most people just don't moan like that in their dreams. We should go figure out what it is anyway. It sounds interesting.
And absolutely no regard for survival. Just gonna wander off in that direction.
Okay, she wanders off in that direction.
I'm
Everyone-
following her, and I don't.
Follow.
I'm actually walking next to her, and I say, "Have you ever been ridden into battle?"
Ayo?
Only in my dreams.
I think
Or
Thrak is a bit
Boreal,
confused
or
by your
Boreal.
response at first, and then he sort of realizes what you're getting at and says, "No, I mean, like, has a warrior ever been on the back of you while you're a bear and ridden you into battle like a mounted warrior?"
Most of the time I'm on my... Oh, I see what you're getting at. Well, we could try. Yes, that could be fun.
I'm just trying to see if I have any wild shape slots left that I haven't. I don't remember.
I want to point out of character. That's a real weird question for Thrak to ask you. That's so strange for him.
Good.
Just gonna put that out there.
Yeah.
He's
Odd
never
one even
asked
for
you
you,
anything
Thrak.
remotely like that before.
I thought you didn't like touching me anyway. Why are you asking? You won't touch my feet.
Sometimes. Yes, well, sometimes my curiosity. You
He's not that kind
understand,
of
as a scholar and wizard, my curiosity gets the best of me at times.
So
I
this
sort of
is
walk
an
ahead.
academic thing.
Yes, it's academic.
Very well.
Can I ask you an out of character question? When you turn into a bear or a wolf, is there any bits of shell left?
We could say that maybe they form a sort of armor over the animal, and that's what sort of makes my AC. Is that bits of shell kind of just almost scales whatever animal I am.
Yeah, that's very interesting to me. I think that's really cool. All right.
Where are you going with this? I have a fear.
He's gonna pelt you. Yeah, you guys start following Jildan as she sort of like just wanders over towards the sounds. Eventually you the first thing that I think each of you would notice is that the area here, the weather is oddly calm. It's actually not even that cold. The effects of the sort of cold exhaustion mechanically will not take effect while you're here. As you get closer to this area where the wind somewhat dies down, you see ahead of you 3 very large bluestone pillars with a huge magical wall of electricity between them. And that is where we're going to end the session for today.
My God.
Before I fully end the session, first of all, thank you players for playing.
You're welcome.
I just want to announce a couple of things for Tablestory. We have got new merchandise available, Quura merch on the merch store. We've got those 3 prologue sessions in which we as a group sort of workshopped the characters and elements of the show, and I was working stuff out as a DM. There was also a little secret reason in that I wanted you guys to be bonded so that you could become Quura. And I was like, yeah, we should all do loads of sessions. Everyone's around, right? And you can watch those if you want. Those are available on the merch store for the members. We also record a weekly post-show conversation with the cast that you can watch, and it's a thing that you can watch called the Green Room, and we've got that for all of our shows on the channel. So other shows have that as well if you're watching anything else on Tablestory. So all of that is available at our merch store, which is merch.tablestory.tv. Another mention quickly is that the YouTube versions of the show go up the next day at noon for all of our shows as well. So this will be up tomorrow. Quura is on Wednesdays. And for podcast listeners and people who want audio versions of the show, the episodes are now up on Apple and Spotify and wherever you normally get podcasts. And if you do listen to it on one of those sites like Apple, please do rate the show, because it really helps us, especially during the first few episodes of a new show. So subscribe, that's free, and you can listen to them, the audio versions, while you're walking around or driving and things. The direct links are all on tablestory.tv/Quura. And also, thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.